Some of you messaged me. Some of you said, oop, that's me. I'm the adaptive translator. Or OMG, I'm definitely the silent stabilizer. Y eso es valiente. And awareness, as I always say, changes everything. Spring represents a biological reset. It's the light changing, the body responding. For first gen Latinas who've been in survival mode, who've been running our leadership from our nervous system's old playbook, spring is more than a season. For us, spring is the activation.
Sabrosura pa' ti que.
Hola, hola, welcome back to Café con Pam, the bilingual podcast that celebrates the power of our stories, the medicine in our voices, and the magic of reclaiming who we are. I need to start today by saying, I've been thinking about you. Pero neta, la verdad, ever since we did that episode on why your body thinks rest is dangerous, and we talked about the Calladita Culture leadership archetypes, the over-prepared visionary, the adaptive translator, the silent stabilizer, the loyal carrier, the relational anchor, I have been sitting with something. Because so many of you showed up in my DMs and in my voice memos and my messages going, that's me. OMG, that's me. And the naming, the moment of recognition is not small. That is the first step. That's awareness. And awareness, as I always say, changes everything. But awareness is not the destination, it's only the doorway. So today, I invite you to notice this. Today is an episode that we are releasing in March, literally the season that is turning. The light is changing. If you go outside right now, something is different. Something is waking up. I'm wearing my March spring outfit. It's kind of like the weather in San Diego is a little interesting. It's like, are we in summer again? Like, what just happened? Because it literally truly feels like something is waking up. And I want to talk about what that means for us. For first gen Latinas who've been in survival mode, who've been running our leadership from our nervous system's old playbook. Because spring is more than a season. For us, spring is the activation. En este episodio, it's just us, tú y yo, cafecito de por medio, actually tea de por medio. I'm going to show you the difference between surviving your leadership archetype and choosing it. I'm going to give you one specific activation practice for each of the 5 archetypes so you leave with something real to do this week. And I'm going to tell you what I think this season is actually calling you into. So if you've ever recognized a pattern in yourself and then wondered, bueno, sí, and then what? Pero y luego, este episodio es para ti. Arre pues. Bueno, a few weeks ago, we talked about why your body thinks rest is dangerous, and we connected it to the leadership styles that show up when we're under pressure. What I've been calling the Calladita Culture leadership archetypes. Some of you messaged me. Some of you said, oop, that's me. I'm the adaptive translator. Or, OMG, I'm definitely the silent stabilizer. Y eso es valiente. The naming is the first step that we need to do. Awareness, and of course, that is everything. You may feel tired. Of course, it's only March and it's been already a year. You're awake. You've been doing the inner work. You've been tapping, you've been noticing, you've been naming, you've been acting, you've been doing. And the season is literally changing. And this matters more than you think. Porque spring represents a biological reset. It's the light changing, the body responding to the light changing. Even your nervous system registers the shift. We get more light, we get more warmth, we get a subtle signal that emerges and tells us something more is possible. And of course, for those of us raised in survival mode, this moment is actually a window, a natural opening. Our body ready to lean forward. And the question that we want to ask ourselves is, what are we stepping into? Because I want to be clear about something. Your Calladita Culture leadership archetype is not the enemy. It's not something to get rid of, it's something to get conscious of. For the over prepared visionary, you are likely very thorough. That's a gift when it's chosen, not compelled. The difference is who is driving, who's at the wheel. Survival mode equals the archetype is running you. Regulated authority equals you are choosing the archetype consciously. So let's talk about Sophia from our last episode. When she is in survival mode, researches for weeks. In regulated authority, she's going to pause, she's going to talk about it, and she's going to ask herself, am I preparing because I'm afraid or because this genuinely requires more information? Same action, completely different source. The adaptive translator, for example, who translates because she wants to, because she loves bridging worlds, leads with power. The adaptive translator who translates because she's terrified of conflict leads with depletion. The action looks the same from the outside. The internal experience is what's completely different. Spring activation isn't about changing what you do, it's about changing where it comes from. So, my invitation for you right now, listener, is to think about one leadership move you make consistently. What is the pattern? Notice the pattern. What's the behavior? What's your default? And ask yourself, am I doing this because it's aligned or am I afraid of what happens if I don't do it? And simply notice. Give yourself permission to notice. I feel like we often are either afraid to notice because we're going to judge immediately, or we just avoid noticing because we're going to judge. In this case, we notice, we don't judge. We listen, we don't judge. We notice, we don't judge. We simply wander forward.
Hay conversaciones que nos enseñaron a callar, y dinero was one of them. Pero here's the truth. Tu dignidad financiera no debería depender de que traduzcas todo para tu mamá, tus tías, tu abuelita o quien sea. Savvy Ladies just made it easier than ever to get financial help en español. Their free helpline means your mama can ask a question without you having to translate shame, confusion, or whatever her comadre told her. Talleres, clases, consejos, todo completamente gratis y con el respeto que nuestras familias merecen. Porque libertad financiera no es lujo, es necesidad. So whether it's you or your mama who's ready to take that first step, go to savvyladies.org. That is SAVVYLADIES.org. Empieza hoy. La dignidad financiera no se pide, se reclama. Here's the thing. Latina families have been saving money forever. From reusing plastic containers for comida, folding up plastic bags under the sink, and diluting dish soap with water. The last thing we need is to pay fees to access our money, right? Pues, in case you didn't know, BMO customers have access to 40,000 fee-free ATMs across the United States. Plus, their BMO Smart Advantage checking account has no monthly maintenance fee. Learn more about how BMO can help by visiting bmo.com/checking. bmo.com/checking. Conditions apply. Accounts provided in the United States by BMO Bank, NA member FDIC.
Because I said I was going to give you something concrete, this is not a feel good episode. This is a let's do something about it episode. So, what I'm going to give you is one spring activation practice for each one of the archetypes. I'm working on a quiz. I know right now, at least you can do a quiz of your Calladita Culture wound. I'm working on the quiz of your Calladita Culture leadership or your Calladita Culture leadership archetype, and it's almost done. But you can identify with it, no? You can identify with the archetypes, and frankly, you'll know which one is yours. Or pick one that you know you need in the moment. And the invite is try it this week. So, the over-prepared visionary, your survival mood is you research until you're certain. You seek validation before you decide. Your spring activation this time is the 70% rule. This week, the invite is you want to make one decision when you're at 70% ready instead of 100%. We're not going to be reckless. We're going to be regulated. So before you make the decision, you want to do one round of tapping. We, of course, begin tapping on the side of the hand. Even though I don't have all of the information yet, I trust my discernment. Even though I don't have all the information yet, I trust my own discernment. Even though I don't have all the information yet, I trust my own discernment. You don't have to do the whole round, actually. You can just tap it on the side of the hand and then notice what comes up. Notice what is your decision. The world won't end if you decide. And this is a way for you to teach your nervous system a new story. Tiny. So do what feels good for you. It doesn't have to be elaborate. It doesn't have to be a huge decision if you're not ready for it. It could be a tiny decision like, I don't know, are we going to have pizza or are we going to have sandwiches? That's easier than, are we going to go with this vendor or this vendor? So tune in to see what your body needs. For the adaptive translator, your survival mood is you shapeshift to keep everyone comfortable. You typically lose yourself in the bridge. Your spring activation is one true think practice. In your next meeting, or if when you're having a difficult conversation, before you start translating for everyone, say one thing that's purely, unapologetically yours. Tiny thing. An opinion, a preference, a boundary. Just one, and it can be tiny. You don't have to announce it. You can simply do it. And notice how you feel, how your body tunes in, what comes up as you are taking up the space. Tiny, tiny moments. It doesn't have to be super elaborate. So you tune in and you do what feels good for you. For the silent stabilizer, your survival mode is you hold everything together. Make it look effortless. You wait to be seen. And your spring activation this time is to name one contribution out loud this week that you would normally let go unnoticed. Not a brag. This is a simple acknowledgement. You know what? I put that together. Or that was my idea. Or I've been carrying this project for a few months. I'm so glad it's on track. Whatever comes up for you. Because spring is when things that grew quietly underground finally break through the surface, and you're allowed to name your roots. You deserve to be recognized and seen through the truth of all the things you carry. Moving on to the loyal carrier, your survival mode, stay in misaligned situations because leaving feels like betrayal. Your spring activation, write a letter you'll never send. To one situation, to a relationship, or to a commitment you've stayed in out of loyalty rather than alignment. Tell it what it meant to you. Tell it what it's costing you. Tell it how it's protecting you. Thank it, and then ask, is this my thing to carry into spring, or is this something that I can set down? You don't have to act on it. You won't send the letter. Just let your body answer honestly. Tune in. Y número 5. The relational anchor. Your survival mode is you create psychological safety for everyone. You carry the emotional labor of the team, and how we're going to activate the spring is by receiving something this week without immediately giving it back. Por ejemplo, if somebody compliments you, you simply say, thank you. I even add, I received that. Full stop. That's it. Let someone help you and let them help you. Spring is very much a bloom. So receive and bloom, because you cannot anchor others forever from an empty center. So you want to receive and resource yourself, and then you can bloom. So we've been in Q1 together. We rested, or at least we practiced. We named our patterns. We tapped. We did the quiet internal work that doesn't always look impressive from the outside, but it's actually everything. And now we are arriving at March, and the light is changing, and something in you is staring to lean forward. Maybe you felt it. Maybe that's a little pull there. Maybe you have the little whisper saying, maybe it's time. This is your nervous system finally having enough resourcing and enough safety to say, I'm ready. Because your archetype is not a person, it's a starting point that can get you there. And spring is a season when starting points become something more. So, the next season, spring, Q2, as we call it in business, for Café con Pam is going to be about voice, visibility, and what it means to expand without losing yourself. And trust me, all the things we worked through on Q1, the rest, the naming, the nervous system work, it was all preparing you for what's next. So, this is your activation. If you haven't realized, we are much more focused at Café con Pam this year. And so, this is your invite to join us in this activation. From one eldest daughter, first gen Latina, to another. As the season changes, so are you. And here we are at the end of Q1 together. We still have one more solo episode, but before I let you go, I want to take a moment because I don't think we do this enough. We don't pause to honor the season we just came through. So let's do that. Q1. What happened in Q1? We talked about rest. We talked about why our body resists rest. We talked about the nervous system patterns underneath your leadership. And we named all of the things out loud and without shame. We did some tapping sequences. We gave ourselves grace. And no es por nada. Todo eso is a lot. We did a lot together on Q1. And now, as we are arriving in March, I don't know about you, but, with all the stars and all the things happening, like, I am feeling it. There is definitely a shift. There's something that has been changing. Y lo único que puedo decir es que we are tuning in, quietly, steadily, leaning forward, leaning into something. And what I know now that I don't always know, that I didn't always know, is that the feeling is not anxiety, it's anticipation. It's not urgency. It's not a prove it loop that we keep coming back around. It's something different. It's a nervous system call saying, this is fun, exciting anticipation of readiness. And I hope you feel that too. I hope this quarter, even in the quietest, most invisible ways, you give yourself enough stillness to hear what's underneath everything that's happening, because there's still a lot happening. And I hope what you heard was something worth following, because as we move into spring, the season of voice, visibility, and expansion, I'm going to invite you to be seen. And winter was preparing your nervous system for that, for being seen. So I invite you to share this episode to the leader in your life who just named her archetype and it's standing at the edge of something new. Maybe she's standing at the edge of that something new. Tag me, of course, at Café con Pan Podcast. I genuinely want to know, what is the spring activation you are going to try this week? Tell me how it goes. Send me a voice memo. I really love getting those. And do slide in my DMs. I do read them. If I don't respond, please follow up, because sometimes it goes into that hidden inbox and I don't see that. I discovered there were some hidden messages from like 4 years ago. Please follow up. Thor reads all my messages with me. Neta. Neta del planeta. And if you haven't yet, you can, of course, get on the wait list for the Calladita Culture Leadership Cohort at cafeconpam.com/leadership, because everything we've been talking about this quarter, the archetypes, the nervous system, the regulated authority, all of that is going to be the work that we deeply do in this container. And it's going to be something super fun. I'm so excited to open the doors. Pero bueno, al final de cuentas, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for choosing to grow with me, for trusting me with your nervous system, for your leadership, for your time, for your ears. I don't take any of it for granted. Thank you so much. Nos vemos la próxima semana, where we're stepping into a whole new season together. Y como siempre, bueno, sigo brillando.
Café con Pam is created con mucho amor by our small but mighty team. Content production by Nancy Jaimes. Podcast management by Maru Linardi. Social media and marketing by Brenda Figueroa. And me, your host, Pam Covarrubias. To keep the cafecito brewing and the healing flowing, join the Supporters Club for only $5 a month and access early episodes, behind-the-scenes vibes, and exclusive minisodes you won't hear anywhere else. Screenshot this episode and tag me and share what resonated. I love seeing your takeaways. Follow on your favorite podcast platform and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Let's keep the conversation going with us on social media at Café con Pan Podcast, because your voice always matters there. We love being on Instagram and Facebook. Gracias for listening to Café con Pam, a Spread Ideas Move People production. For more episodes, guest info, or resources, visit cafeconpam.com. And if you're healing from Calladita Culture and don't know where to start, you can take the quiz. cafeconpam.com/quiz for Tia Wisdom and cariño just for you.
Sabrosura pa' ti que